excited to be here to do
My name
this.
is Laura Foster.
Guitar player extraordinaire slash resident fun guy at Northside Baptist
Trio Quinn. I'm actually Charlie's cousin.
Will Baker. Eddie.
Baines Blanton. I'm a junior at Lowndes High School.
Peterson. I'm a student at Lowndes High School.
All right, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you on both today. If you could introduce yourself, and we'll just keep on going.
All right, my name is Ethan Stoutamire. I am 14 years old, and I moved here in 2019.
Awesome.
My name's DeVine. I'm 15 years old, and we moved here about 6 years ago.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'm so glad to have you guys on today, and what we're going to do, we're just going to alternate through questions like I told you earlier. So, Ethan, if you could tell me the story, or before that, I'm sorry, let's go into testimonies first. Yeah.
All right.
So, Ethan, if you tell your testimony.
So, when I was about 6 years old, my dad had this little Bible app that like had little things, multiple stories, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And one night I wanted to do Jesus' crucifixion, and after it, my dad asked me, do you know what this means? And I said no. He explained it to me. And then later that night, he asked me if I wanted to pray to receive Christ. I said yes, and then I got saved. But it wasn't till I think 3 years later, when I was 9, till I got baptized. Because I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, well, I'm saved. Why do I really need to get baptized? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a burden.
Right, you've already got the reassurance, right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until 9 when I really got a real good grasp for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's all.
Yeah. Noah?
I was 6 years old as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the way to school with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in the car rider line.
And so at the time, you were still public school, that you still
Yes,
went,
public school.
Mhm.
We were going to elementary school.
Yeah.
And I asked my mom, how do I get saved? Because I did not know. I knew a bunch of other kids at my church were saved, but I knew that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I committed a lot of sins,
Right.
and I wanted to clear that out and know that I'm going to heaven.
Yeah.
So I asked her, how do I get saved? And she explained to me everything that I need to know, how Jesus died on the cross, and he saved us from our sins. So
And then right then and there in the car, you got saved, yeah?
yes, right then in the car, me and her prayed together. I prayed to God. I accepted him into my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I got baptized, and I've been growing in my faith ever since.
Awesome, bro. And, I'll just say this before we keep moving. It's awesome to see you two grow in our life groups and things like that. And it's just been an honor to get to know you guys. But now we're going to keep going into questions.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan, how did you guys, if you remember, how did you guys meet?
So I'm pretty sure, because when I moved here, I was 4th grade.
Uh-huh.
But I know. But it was COVID. And so I basically almost didn't have a 4th grade year.
Yeah.
And so I never knew. So it was not until my 5th grade year, and my sister obviously was in the youth group.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in the children's. But every Sunday I would go to the gym, and I would go like find her or whatever. And Noah and his friends would play tag in the hallway.
Classic tag.
And I think that was the first time I really met you. I think was you asked me to play tag with y'all, and then we had played it for I think all the rest of that year.
Really?
Yeah,
That was like the thing, right?
That was the thing, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess we've been playing ever since.
Nice. Well, yeah, you've been playing ever since. You've been goofing off. Yeah. But so Noah, what is it like having your parents as life group leaders?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, it would be amazing, but also it'd be like a little daunting, right? Because it's your parents, and also they teach, like your mom teaches you school anyway, so I guess that's one benefit. You're kind of used to her teaching anyway, but like because they gotta like be a teacher to you and your other peers, but also they have to be your parent. Like, they have to be your parents, and so they might have to. I don't know. I'm just giving an example. They may have to like, hey, no, stop that. Like, but at the same time, they have to. So for me, I'd always be like, I wonder what that feels like for him. Him and Riley, like that.
That part kind of like.
It's like they have to find that balance, and then you have to find like you're like, oh, they're my teachers in two ways.
Yes.
You know,
parents and a teacher. So I need to respect those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, they are the funnest life group leaders ever. Like, come on.
I enjoy them. That's fine.
I'd hope so. I mean,
Yes.
I'd hope so. I mean, with you literally doing life with them every single day. I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah. One thing I want to
go
add.
ahead.
When I was younger, my dad also did teach my Sunday class in my old church.
Really?
Yeah, he did. So I guess
I've
that
always
is.
said that I thought that he should teach
Yeah,
one.
so he did teach. He taught me in second grade in art, and I always liked it because I always thought like, I know, like.
What he's gonna teach?
Well, not know what he's gonna teach, but I know how he's gonna react to certain
Oh,
situations.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not. It's not like some lazy teacher who like, if you do this certain amount of times, you're gonna get in trouble, and then the kids never got in trouble.
Yeah.
I always liked strict teachers. My dad was strict, so
And like,
I like
one
that.
thing that I was thinking when you brought that up, I was thinking like, if it was me, just because I'd be like, and want to be a little annoying, I would ask like my parents like a really hard question, and I'd be like, and because you would know how they would respond, right? And so it'd be like, and they would look at you like, oh, how dare you, like, man, like, yeah, but we love Uncle Brandon and Miss Natasha, and they know, like, the podcasters, for people that listen, they know why we call him Uncle Brandon. Yes. At least this time you two aren't crying. That was a joke. That was a joke. But for Ethan, how did you get into tennis, and how do you see God work in it?
Yeah, I got into tennis when I was, I think I was either 9 or 10, and my friend in Tampa, that's where we used to live, he had played tennis there, and he asked me to come one time, and so I did, and I just, I felt like I had a knack for it and stuff, and as far as seeing God work through, tennis stuff, it's a whole opportunity, especially for me as a homeschool kid, you know, because it's my one interaction with kids who are from public school, who aren't from like a Christian co-op or a Christian church, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that sense, you can maybe talk to them about certain stuff, share ideas with people who, who don't...
otherwise wouldn't hear it.
Exactly,
And
you know what I mean?
And also, too, I think it's good because you guys get to hear kind of like, because... me and Steven, we can say all we want about what goes on in our school, but, maybe like, oh, there's no way. But then, like, you see that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you get to, as a homeschool kid, you get to see what we face on a daily with going to public school. And, like, sure, there are some benefits, but...
I couldn't imagine.
It's, well, for me, with 3,000 kids in the school, and you've got what? How many kids in your co-op? How many kids are in your guys' co-op?
I don't know.
Could you count them on your fingers and toes?
No. I'd say at most, I'd say a good day you could have close to 100 kids.
Yeah. And even then you have that close connection,
yeah.
and then like probably know most of them. Like because
close to 30 families.
My school like class, when I graduate, it's like over 600 people just in that, and then the freshman class is like over 900. And I'm thinking to myself, man, where did all those freshmen come from?
If all the people in our co-op stayed till the end of the year, my graduating class would be like 7 people.
Really? Really? And that's like 2. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking with you, but I mean, for real, like, it's so cool to talk with you guys about it because there's such a different contrast, like, especially, and also too, like, your schedules. I know we've talked about that. So I'm like, dude, your schedule's like, it's crazy, like, compared to, like, for me as a public schooler, it sounds so nice. I'm just as you can see,
all homeschoolers, most homeschoolers can, like,
I mean, because you do what school, like, what is it, 2 hours a day, or what is it? Am I wrong?
No, normally like 3 hours.
3 hours a day,
okay.
Which I mean, because I start at like, say, like 8, and then end at like 3, and I'm like constantly like.
I was still asleep at like 8:30 this morning.
I know, and like, so that's when I'm like, when I'm tired, I mean it. I'm like, I am dog tired, like, because for me too, like, my schedule's kind of more spread out, and I don't know, you've never stepped on Lounge campus. No, you may have with the indoor training facility, but I don't know if you've gone inside on the main building, but it's spread out. Like, the way they've built the new building and stuff, you've got that that big old building, and you've got the other wings out to the other side, and I'm like, my short little stubby legs just walking to these, wings, and I'm like, my gosh, why couldn't they have made my schedule more like condensed?
Charlie, you need to get one of those like tiny skateboards.
Heck yeah, or get one of them like
one wheels.
What is the it's not a moped, but like there's a lot of scooters you just push with your foot.
Oh, the Segways?
Yeah,
or hoverboards?
No, I can't think of what they are, but they're just like you hold on with like this, and then you kind of just push off. They're like hoverboards, I guess. In a
electric
way.
Scooters?
Kinda. I don't know.
Oh, you mean the things that got the two wheels with the handle?
Yeah.
Those are still Segways.
Yeah, really? I didn't.
Yeah,
but like
they're just upgraded ones.
Because like. I need something because I take her either just like to push like all those kids out the way. I'm like, get out the way. Like I'm trying to go. Like it's like you think these hallways get crowded up here. It went no. I can navigate through that like nobody's business. Like so like for like public school kids are like, this is nothing. What you talking about? The hallways are crowded. Like or like when we leave the sanctuary, right? No.
Yeah.
And it's, no, we.
I'm pretty sure me and Noah both been to Disney, and so it can get crowded there.
It can get. We went at like 30% capacity one time, and it was still crowded. I was
and Universal is decently crowded.
Yeah. No, the most crowded is the Food and Wine Festival.
Really?
At Epcot, it's cheaper prices, but if you go, it's like it's close to like 10 people for like 7 feet by 7 foot.
Gosh,
almost.
Man, that is a ton. That's nope. But Noah, how did you get into doing plays? And also, I want to tie in with like singing here at Northside as well. How did you get tied in with that? And how do you see God work in that?
Okay, so when I don't even know. I think it was like 2017. My sister, my parents took my sister to audition for a play.
Mm-hmm.
It was The Wizard of Oz, and I was just there, and I had a double mohawk at the time.
Well, I think I've seen that. Yeah, I think I've seen pictures of that.
I haven't seen that.
It was insane. And I had it up whenever I went, and I was sitting there, and the director came up to me and was like, "Are you auditioning?" And I was like, "No, I'm just here for my sister." And she was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "No." And then my sister went up and auditioned, and I was thinking about it. A bunch of more people went up and auditioned.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just went up there. I auditioned because I felt like it'd be cool to try out.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous at first just to audition.
Of course you would be, yeah.
And then I don't even remember the song I sung.
I was about to say, do you remember what the play, what was it for at the time?
Wizard of Oz.
So it's like kind of full circle, isn't it? Like you're coming back to that and actually going to be in it.
Yes.
Willingly.
So then I did it, and then I got casted as Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
which
snap.
I was completely shocked. It was probably because of my hair also.
Yeah. At the time, yeah.
And that was my first play ever, and I got a huge role, and ever since then I really enjoyed it, and I've done like 7 plays now, I think.
And they're so cool to go to, bro. Like, I remember the first one, like, because me and Ethan and, not Ethan, sorry, me, Steven, and Baines didn't know what to expect, and so we just started, like we were we were loving it. We were silently giggling because we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so funny!" But he's doing such a good job,
It's amazing.
He does a good job.
Oh yeah, for real.
What play did y'all first go to?
It was Sound of Music. So, okay. But the thing about it is, I had not watched the film, so there was a lot of stuff that I was like, and I won't say on here so I don't get like copy or striked or anything. But there's probably one particular thing you can probably we can all think about that I'm like, oh my gosh, he had that on his arm. And I was like, hold up. And I was like, because Baines sitting next to me, he's like, bro. And I was like, there's no way. And then because I didn't believe him, I turned my head. I was like, oh my gosh, he's right. But and Aladdin was great too. You did a really good job in that. Yes. And then Wizard of Oz is actually coming up. When is that?
I think auditions are at the end of this month, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
And then the play should be in May.
Yeah, which, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to have to that is going to be so tight because I'll tell you why. It's on the 25th and 26th, right? The 25th is my graduation day.
Oh, dang.
And then so I'm going to have to come in or either later that day on the 25th or the 26th. I was like, I'm getting to this play somehow.
This is my second time. This is my first time doing a play that I've already done. Yeah. Again. And because I've already did The Wizard of Oz with a different company.
Right.
Now I'm doing it with...
What are you hoping to get Like, or is there any part specifically you
I
want?
am auditioning for the 10-man.
Nice. I could see that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I brought up too with you singing, like, 'cause it's kind of a new thing with you singing with the youth choir. Like, how's that been for you?
It's been great. I really enjoy singing. I love singing about Jesus.
Yeah. And I know that, like, at first it was kind of a bit of an adjustment because, you're used to sitting down there with your friends, like, you're and worshiping, singing, and of course you're singing, but then you're up on stage with the brightest lights in the history of the planet up in the big room up there, and you're like, I can't see a thing, and so I know that was probably a bit daunting, but you do a great job with it. You really do. And let's see here, where am I at? Ethan, if you could describe Northside or the Northside student ministry in one word, what would it be and why?
One word.
I got mine. I thought about it, so.
I'd either say inviting or loud.
Let's go with inviting. How about that? I would definitely say it's inviting, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you the reason why. Because, I'm a host home pretty now again this year. Mm-hmm. And my schedule, like, for kids has changed 50 times because of the fact that I think over last weekend we had over 17 more kids sign up, and I was like, oh my gosh, my house can fit, like, we're built for 3, but we're making it,
Built for 3, we're gonna cram in 15.
No, that is actually like what we're having to do, and I think because I technically have like 3 small group leaders because it's Will, Will does usually the high school like seniors, and then I've got I can never get his first name right. I think it's DeVine, Day maybe, and then another guy that was in the choir that he literally just joined maybe about a month ago is Blandon, and I think the reason why they put DeVine and Blandon together because Blandon's never really done it. DeVine probably has, and so we got 3 grown men along with about 14, 13 grown guys. Mm-hmm. And how about shoving them on my house? It was built for 3.
Is Devon like the really, really tall guy? Mm-hmm. Okay, never mind.
No. And he just graduated too, so I don't, and I may be saying his name wrong. Like that's a possibility. And if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Like I'm bad with names.
Charlie apologizes.
I'm deeply sorry about that. And so the same thing for if you could describe the Northside Student Ministry in one word, what would it be and why?
Inviting is probably the best one, but
yeah.
I mean it's amazing.
Yeah. Good. That's a good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
And to add on to that, because of how much we're growing. Like I'm excited to see just tonight how many people are going to be in there. I mean, there's been over 100 and something kids in there.
Increased by a lot.
And you got to think a lot of them are public school, so we have to go to school every day, and some are in homeschool, of course. Which is having that great mix, which is really cool. For me, I'd say it's got a family vibe to it. That would be my word. Because I've said this in the one year I was thinking, I was like, man, the amount of friends that I've made here, just in all ages, not just youth, but college, adults, whatever, it's so cool. And I've got so many people on my phone that I can just be like, hey, I need something, like, can you help me out with that? And they'd be more than happy to oblige with it. A couple of years ago, I'd be like searching for that one person, like, where they at my phone? Like, just being honest, I was Mr. Lonely, okay? Like, So, but I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same way. But it's so cool to have new people come in and then see the reaction to it. So, like, because I've heard people like, man, like, y'all do it differently, but y'all do it in a good, like, it feels good, and it's awesome, to see. And and Noah's doing a great job too. I think we can all agree on that. He's doing a wonderful job. And that were you guys here when Josh Johnson was here, or not? No,
I don't think so.
Okay, so because it's like you've got like the trinity of youth pastors at Northside. Mm-hmm. You've got Josh Johnson, Landon, and then Noah. It's like I've heard so many good things about Josh Johnson, so many good things about Landon, so many things about Noah, and so like this ministry's never had a bad pastor, which is awesome to hear. And there might be more. I don't know. I just wasn't here before, and the kids that like Steven, he wasn't there before. Whoever was there before Josh Johnson, I have no idea. Yeah. Like I'd like to go back and flip through like old books or whatever if they got them. Like, who was the youth pastor back in the 50s if they had one?
Yeah.
Which that's crazy to think too how old this church is. Like
How old is this church?
It's like 72, 71 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
It's old. I mean, it is, yeah. And how old the oldest choir member is? She's in her 90s. She's in her 90s. And it was funny. I know, I don't tell you the full story later, but your mom told me that she had to drive her to shop, and she was so scared. She was so scared. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
That was so funny to me. What is your future plans, if you have any right now, Ethan? For life, just job, what, Have you thought about it? I know it's kind of a heavy question.
I have thought about it, but honestly,
you want to live and be a kid right now, don't you?
Well, not that,
Same.
but until recently, I didn't even know what I wanted to do, and I thought about this recently. If I don't know what I want to do, it means there's nothing that God's pulling me away from when He tells me to do something.
That's good.
So
I need to put that in the graphics. That's good. I'm joking, but that's good.
That's kind of my theory on it.
Yeah,
so
that's good. And same question for you, Noah.
I think I want to be an actor.
Yeah.
And
and you're starting that already with the theater and stuff like
I
that.
want to be a big time actor.
Who knows? You might be. We might be pulling you for that production company thing that I was a part of for the On Fire stuff. I've written. I went and saw Wonka not too long ago, and then it gave me this really big idea to why don't we do kind of something like that, but instead of kind of have the pull of instead of chocolate be the main focus, the gospel be the main focus, right? Mm-hmm. And you could put it's a really cheesy line. Let's be honest, a lot of those movies have cheesy lines in them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you could have your Wonka type character walk up to this guy and he's like, for something sweeter than chocolate, and that's got the gospel, something like that, Mm-hmm. And so you never know what door may open up, and we might be having you be in the main role of something, bro. Mm-hmm. Just imagine that your face on a movie poster.
That's crazy.
I hope
it comes true.
Yeah, and we're slowly working. Dude, we didn't realize how much work it would, it takes. Right now we're just doing little things here and there. But
it's a lot.
There's so much, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, and people think there's a lot of work that goes into stuff like that, like the podcast, and there is, but not as much as that. Or a nonprofit, there's not as much as that. This is easy. All we're doing is talking.
Yeah.
All I got to do is set the mic up, and we just got to go. Or as Pastor Jeff says, we just got to rip it. So, yeah. And I know that I had one more question for you, Noah. 'Cause you talked about it recently. How was it driving to Northside for the first time?
Ooh, it was a little
nerve-wracking.
Nervous.
Right.
That was one of the most nervous moments.
And was it just you and your family?
Me and my dad, I think, the first
you
time.
And your dad?
I think we were going to pickleball.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. And I was super nervous, but I was...
God got you through it, though, bro.
Yes,
and
my dad was able to talk to me and explain everything.
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, because I don't know how your route, you don't have to go through downtown, do you? Downtown Dallas?
No.
You lucky dog.
Yeah,
because I live in Lake Park, so I have to go through downtown, and I've not actually done that yet, because I'm kind of just, because again, I'm not driven anything, I've went from a truck, and then I didn't drive anything beforehand, when I was 8, I wasn't driving around 4-wheelers and golf carts,
Yeah.
And so, I'm kind of taking it nice and slow. But it was so funny. The other day I was practicing. We were going on some, because where I live at, there's a lot of back roads and stuff, and not much traffic on them. And I may be going maybe at the max 30 miles down the road. I'm not going that fast. I've gotten a bit faster now, but this was maybe about a couple weeks ago. And there's this church we always pulled into to turn around and do the swap and let my mom go back home. Well, I'm going about 30 miles down the road. I'm going real slow, and I just whip it into that church parking lot. And she's like, she was like, "You going to turn me over on 2 wheels, are you?" And I was like, "Look, it was funny, wasn't it?" But I honestly didn't mean to. Yeah. It just kind of happened that way. And the other day, I went and because I know you guys haven't been out to my house, but it's on 376, which is a very busy highway. And I actually pulled in there, and when we got home, oh my gosh, that was so nerve-wracking, bro. Because there's semis, always coming. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Shouldn't worry, Charlie's a professional Tokyo drifter.
Sure. I'm gonna just Tokyo drift it right into my driveway. Oh yeah, and like, cause that's a place where I know it's a bit easier for you because you're in a neighborhood, but for me, I can't just sit there at my. I got to when there's no traffic coming, I got to go, or I got to get in, I got to just shoot in, because usually there's always a semi, there's always a car, there's always something going down that road, and it gets so noisy. Like if you're like sitting outside or something, you hear all these semis, or like I think the semis might be either hitting their Jake brakes or they're hitting the rumble strips, and I'm like, my gosh, can you be any more louder? Yeah. I'm like Chandler from Friends over here. Like, could you be any louder? Yeah, I mean it is loud because we live on 122. Yeah, so. I mean, not as many semis, but if there's one go by, you do hear it. And, with my sister, I mean, she's driving like. She drove us here. Yeah. You know what I mean? She drives us everywhere now. Nice. But it's... You're the passenger princess. Yeah. You have to turn in quick to our driveway. Yeah. I mean, that GPS just messes you up on yours. Oh yeah. It doesn't know where to go. Yeah, I don't know why our house. There's like 4 houses like in a line, then there's like 4 on the other side. And it thinks the GPS thinks it was like the house next to yours, and I was like, well, that can't be. It always thinks if you're coming from the direction. The direction. It always thinks it's the one like right before our house, like the brick one. Yeah. It always thinks it's that house. Right. Well, now we're going to go into questions about the youth, and I promise you'll be able to answer them. I got you. Okay? So, when you look at the youth, and this can be, through your co-op, this can be through just kids you've seen, like, in tennis or anything like that, or just in general, do you see hope, or are you worried about the future? And either of you can answer these. So. Go ahead. All right. I'd say hopeful for youth groups like Northside to help go out and preach the word and stuff, but then word of caution, if we continue down the path that a lot of kids and stuff are going, it's not gonna end up well. Right. I mean, and it is a scary thing because for me it's always been about 50-50 because you've got the kids here, they're great ministries. Then you got Lowndes High School. Yeah. And again, there's some great kids there. I know a lot of great people there. However, they don't have Jesus in their life, and you can see that, and there's a lot of people in my classes, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like when you're being rowdy's one thing, but like when you're being obnoxious rowdy, which happens in my classes a lot, it's like one of my pet peeves. But it's like one of those secret one. Like I hold it in, but I just can't stand it. I'm like, and I just kind of like give one of these looks. I'm like. And like that's just what a lot of them do, because they don't know any better. But I've said this before, and I think I said it on a podcast with Noah before. I said, I love FCX. We get to do it still. I'm glad we still get to do it because Lord knows what's going to happen in a few years, right? With schools and all. But I just wish we could do more. Like because of that, I know your dad brought it up in life group last week. Or was it maybe a couple weeks ago? I don't really remember. The weeks start to run together, but when he's talking about how we lost that battle in the '60s, where Christians didn't stand their ground about keeping prayer and God in schools, right? I think about it now, like because of that, it's so hard in public schools and just anywhere, because were those people that are out in the downtown, for example. They came from probably public schools, and so they hear all that. And they hear it on the news, and so it's so difficult. And I'm thinking to myself, I can keep wishing. Of course, it never happened. But I'm like, where did we go wrong? I mean, it's even difficult, like just at like my tennis clinics. Even like maybe on a really good day, you might have 16 people. You know what I mean? But I mean, most all those kids are. Most all of them are in high school, or but most of them all go to public school and stuff. Yeah. So it's not what I would say a Christian environment. No, and is that kind of the same way with your plays a little bit too? Because I mean, it's everybody, right? Like it's not, So is that? Do you find that kind of hard as well to kind of balance a little bit? Yes, it's hard. I mean, because I can't imagine because I know I won't mention his name, but I do know somebody that was in some of your plays and stuff, and like I said, he's a great guy, but I know he does not have Jesus in his life. There
are a lot of kids there.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, would you say for you, is it about, well, I was going to say 50-50, but it's probably more 60-40. Maybe.
There's quite a bit of kids there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about if you split it down the middle and you said, these half are Christians, these half aren't. Is it, do you think it's about 50-50-ish, or is it a little bit more towards they're not?
Yeah, a little bit more towards they're not.
Yeah. I mean, but, you know, I think even if it makes us uncomfortable, and I say this saying I struggle with it too sometimes, trust me, I get it. You know, he puts us in the situations to spread his gospel and spread his word, because, you know, I think about it often because I hear it all the time. Like, what if you didn't tell that person and they're like, what the heck, man, I didn't know I was supposed to do this. And, you know, you could have been telling me for years and you didn't. You know, it was all because of some silly fear.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that hits me hard. Like, and it should hit a lot of people hard. It's like, man, why didn't I do that? You know, or why didn't I listen to God in that moment, or anything like that. But for one of my final questions, the second to last one, you know, what advice would you give to somebody, you know, well, I would say our age, but, you know, or just anybody that's finding it hard to navigate this world in a biblical way, because, you know, you have social media and all that stuff, and, like, stuff that our parents didn't really think about when they were going to school and everything. What would you say, Noah? I can tell you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm just.
Want to go, Ethan?
Yeah. All right. If I'd say always balance out, you know, hanging with Christians and hanging with non-Christians. You know what I mean? Not balance out, but, you know,
You repeat the question again?
Yeah, and can you speak up a little bit? You're good. Yeah, you're good. The question was, you know, what advice would you give to someone who's finding it hard to navigate this world in a biblical way? It's like if somebody walked up to you right now and said, "Noah, I need help. I need some, you know, of sound mind advice," and they might even say that. They might say, "I'm struggling," you know.
Well, inviting them to church is one thing.
Yeah.
You can do to help them.
Yeah.
Also, asking them if they would be okay if we prayed together.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
You prayed by yourself for them.
Yeah.
A lot.
And, you know, I need to get better about it. And I think this is one thing a lot of people struggle with. I need to get better about it too. Saying, "Oh yeah, I'll pray for you," and then you forget about it. You know, like you were gonna do it, but you didn't write it down. You know, you didn't do it right then. And that's something it's really I need to work on myself. Is like, you know, I can't, you know, I can remember a lot of stuff, but I can't remember that. You know. And, like, I remember, like, the first week of, was it 11th grade, I did go around and, like, I wrote them down. I asked people, I was like, you know, if you need prayer for anything. And that was really effective. You know, that's one thing, and I know we've all struggled with that at some point. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll pray for you about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it, like, you know. But, yeah, definitely, you know.
Like,
That's
and,
a really good thing to have.
especially, you know, praying with someone, that can really leave an impression, you know, on them, because... I mean, you know, just think, like, especially if they're not a Christian, like, you know, I've heard some people say stories like, man, you're the, I mean, not talking about me, but just different people, like, you're the nicest Christian, you know, I've ever met. So many of them are so rude, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what in the world, like, what, that shouldn't be, you know, right? And, you know, and I know there's, like, all these different, you know, like, cultures, whatever, and no, do we have to agree with them? No, we don't, but we want to love the people, and we want to show that, and even though it can be hard sometimes. And, you know, especially in public school, it can be very difficult at times, because sometimes that, I don't know what you want to call it, my Jesus switch doesn't come on. The human side comes on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I got to think about, you know, and I think I missed the sermon, but, you know, I think one of the couple nights ago, he talked about, you know, holding your tongue in the college ministry. And I'm like, man, why didn't I go for that one? Dang it. You know, and I'm not saying like I curse, but it's just like watching what you say is important.
Words are very powerful.
You never know who's going to be, you know, behind you at a play afterwards, or a tennis match, or, you know, anywhere. And
Watch your mouth at all times.
exactly, you know, and even if it's not like I said, a curse word, and if it's something they're just like, whoa, that was rude, and now that's the one. And what if that's the first thing they hear you say? Like if it's a new person that comes in, and that's how they perceive you for the rest of, like, you know, their life. You know.
Always think before you speak.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So my final question Well, actually, yeah. My final question, and then I'll give you some guys' advice, and then we'll head out of here. Is why do you think people, especially young people, run away when they hear the name Jesus?
Honestly, I think most people, when they hear the name Jesus, people talk to them, a lot of people already believe something, because everyone believes something, you know what I mean? Because, if you really look at all the different things, you believe something, no matter what it is.
Because my thought is, if you didn't believe something, you wouldn't push it back so far.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And people don't want to be told that they're wrong.
No. I mean, not even Christians, and that's the truth.
No, it is.
We don't.
People just don't want to be told that they're wrong, and I think that's a big reason,
Yeah.
why people they're like, I don't want to be told that I'm wrong. Who wants to be told that they're wrong? Nobody.
Right. Exactly. Noah?
Probably because when everything that bad happens in their life, they probably all blame it on Jesus.
Yeah.
So they start running away from him because they think that all the problems are
Linked to him.
from Jesus.
Right, and one of the things that I've heard, it's a common phrase, but it's so true, is the church hurt you, not Jesus did. Because the church has made a man. Jesus did not hurt you in any way, and that's what we have to realize. And when I say that, I'm not saying that you should not go to a church, get plugged in, because it is great, but you got to find that right one. And because that can happen, but people just need to realize, this is not affecting my relationship with Jesus, because a church is a church. It's made for man, but Jesus didn't do anything wrong to me, and he never will. But people just, I don't know. So sometimes I know how it is. Sometimes when you're trying to talk to them, whatever, you just want to take your Bible and just smack him over the head with your Bible with that knowledge, but it doesn't really work that way. And one of the things that me and Cameron talked about was, and I kind of brought it up. I'm like, when people go to present the gospel, we need to not be as if this makes sense, preachy, right? Because we may have all this knowledge in our head, we might have been going to church for years, right? And we have all this in our head, we're ready to go, but they don't know all that, and they're not going to understand it. And so we just have to get down to their level and then be compassionate, and hear them out if they have any issues, because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere, and I think that's just we need more of it, but I love both of your answers, and I'll just tell you this, and then we'll just get going. One of the things I want to tell you, both of you guys, is I see a lot of potential in the both of you for life groups and being leaders in the next ministries you go into. I know they're going to change it a little bit with Noah shifting them around, things like that, or whatever. I think you guys will be together still. I don't know how things are going to be, but we'll see. Yeah, but my point is, whatever happens, I want to challenge you guys to, especially after, say, me and Stephen leave, or, go to college ministry, or just however that, ages are, or whatever, challenge you guys to, step up and be that leader in your life group, or in an event that you're doing, or anything like that. And I told Cameron, it doesn't have to be kind of like an Operation Patriotism event. It doesn't have to be outreach. You can do something right here, do it your own way, because you know what? That's more fun. You ain't got to copy what I did. That's just something that, God gave me the gift of, is to do outreach stuff. But he's given you two different gifts, and I told him, I said, because I brought it up, he said, he did a little bit of coding, and he still does. I said, why don't you and Gavin one day put your heads together and make something, or do something? And I believe you two could do the same thing with your talents. I don't know how you would, these two are two totally different things, but God's done crazier stuff. I don't know how you would stick drama and tennis together, but we've seen crazier stuff.
Well, you can combine the fact that we both like talking. Noah's a public speaker, but then I might say I'm better one-on-one. You know what I mean? So, and
you both like talk. Exactly. So, you never know what might happen. God might be like, you know what, we're going to, God's going to put it in one of you guys' minds, we should do our own podcast one day and, talk about all different types of stuff, because there's no telling what come out of you, both of y'all's brains. I'm just being honest. But, I just want to encourage you guys with that. But is there any final thoughts, anything that you guys want to say or anything like that?
I love your podcast, Charlie, and thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yes, I'm so grateful to be on this.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I'm excited to see what God does with it. With another episode of the Young Minds Podcast coming to a close, I just want to remind you that you are never alone and faith is action. So let's get out there.